So I wanted to make sure that the few of you who were on Zoom and um, I didn't have the audio on. I apologize for that. So I want to go over just a few things here about the lab. So a reminder that this is Lab B, and this is the date. These are the data, and this came from the questionnaire that you filled out along with one other person way back near the start of the course. So if you have any questions about what the different column labels mean, you can look in here and say, oh yeah, that column that's labeled, for example, job, it was the question, do you have a job in which you work at least 10 hours per week? So make sure that you don't forget that. That's right here. You also need to know how some of these items are coded. So for example, job was a yes/no question. Do you have a job that is more than 10 hours a week? So we didn't put words into the spreadsheet. We used quantitative information. But in this sense, the one doesn't mean anything compared to the two, other than that one means yes and two means no. So if you're looking at, for example, there's a question that deals with gender, and so one will be female, two will be male. So when you write up your lab review and stuff, you need to make sure that you are using the actual words that accompany what you're looking at and not just one or two, okay? So what I'm hearing from what we learned today is that you need to, first of all, virtually access Goshen College's, it's like you're on a computer here in a lab. You need to walk through that. You need to check, you're going to use this one, Horizon VMware, install this. You're going to have to select what is appropriate for your particular, you can't see it over here, but you're going to have to choose if you have a Mac, if you have a Windows, if you have iOS. So you're going to have to choose the appropriate one. You're going to have to download it, do all that in order to be able to access Minitab. And what we found is that usually when you're on a lab computer, you can just click this and it already opens up. But what we're finding is that people need to actually open up Minitab once you're virtually connected. And you do that by going down, you have that little search icon in the bottom left-hand corner, put Minitab in, click on Minitab, open up Minitab, and make sure that you have that open before you go ahead and open this. So I'm going to go ahead and open this. Again, you're not going to be able to see everything here, but it's going to end up with a spreadsheet like this. I actually can open it a little wider. Yes. No, I can't very much. Okay. So the lab is going to walk you down through various things in this. So let me go ahead and pull that up here. I'm going to pull up the instructions and just highlight a few things for you. So let me move this over again. Okay, so make sure, like I always say, read everything. Don't just go and look at the screenshots and think that you can figure things out, because it requires reading carefully about this. These are screenshots. It should look very similar to what you already have when you do this. So the bottom of page 3, you have your first question that you're going to have to write up, and so you need to make note of that. Other things here. So one thing I want to highlight here is make sure that you do save your work before you get out. Save it as a project. So when it comes to Minitab here, you can go File, Save Project As, and you're going to have to save it somewhere. It's going to look a little different than mine here, but you probably have never worked on saving your information on a Goshen College computer, but you should have some kind of My Documents. It's going to look obviously different than mine here, but just make sure that you save it under your documents and that you know what it was that you labeled it so that you can find it again if you need to find it. And again, remember, it needs to be saved as Save Project As. If you save it as a worksheet, all it does is save your data down here. It saves nothing that you have done up here. So let's go ahead and we'll just do the first one so I can kind of show you what it looks like. So here we are, and it walks you through all this. We're going to do histogram with fit. let's look at meal. You can either double click it or highlight it, select, and then go. When you go labels here, you are going to put a title in here, and it will walk you through this in that. So when you click OK, then you're going to get this nice histogram here. And so one of the nice things about Minitab is that it now organizes everything along this left-hand bar. You can also click here and click. You can copy graph, and so that you can quickly move things into your Word document, because you need to move things into your Word document. At the end, you're going to copy and paste everything that you did on Minitab into your Word document, and you're going to write it up as well. And so all that is indicated down here at the bottom. Well, these are the instructions that you have to paste your frequency histogram, answer the questions, report the mean and standard deviation, read Appendix F for additional information on how to report. But essentially right now, you're not doing that full paragraph that we talked about in class a few classes ago. Here are examples of how you would write up in a full sentences the results that you get here, in addition to copying and pasting everything that you have done in Minitab. Okay, but let me talk to you about this real quickly here. This is where students often get puzzled. And so this is talking about recoding variables and creating a combined score. And so when you go back to the questionnaire, this questionnaire, these last 10 items together make a math self-efficacy question total. And so it's a 3-item scale. You had to put it in. This was 1 was disagree, 2 was neutral, 3 was agree. So the higher the value, the more self-efficacy a student has in math. And self-efficacy just means like your confidence in doing math. Now you notice that this 14, it says, I am sure that I could do advanced math, work in math. So agree would be higher self-efficacy, right? If you agree with that, you're saying, hey, I feel competent. Same with 15, right? I'm sure I can learn mathematics. Agree is competent. So a 3 of agree, which is what it's coded as, and plus a 3 with agree would be 6, right? So you have the highest score so far. But look at 18. I'm not the type to do well in mathematics. So what that means is we need to recode it, because an agree with that item is not a higher level of math self-efficacy. In fact, it's a lower, right? If you agree that you're not the type to do that, you're actually lower in self-efficacy. So we want disagree to be the 3, neutral to stay at 2, and agree to be 1, so that we're looking at consistently giving 3s the ones that indicate the higher level of self-efficacy. So several of the items need to be recoded in that sense. So if we go back to here, it tells you that these are items 18, 19, and 23. And so you have to reverse score them, or what's called recoding. So it walks down how you do this, how to do it here, how to put it in a new column. So remember, when you are then computing a composite score, you're computing a total score for those 10 items, you need to go and grab the items that you've recoded. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 is that recoded item. 19 is that recoded item. So make sure that you're adding, as it illustrates here, all of the items together that are the appropriate recoded ones with the original ones to create the composite score. So make sure you read carefully here and you include everything there. Normally when students don't get full points on the labs are not hard. They just haven't read carefully to include everything that they need to. So make sure you're reading carefully through the entire document of the lab as you do it. So hopefully that should be sufficient information for you.